Hey guys, it's DC and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary where all soap lovers are welcome, guys. This is my Beyond the Gates review. What color is your money? Man, as you guys know, I have been gone for such a long time. I'm back. I'm now in my final year of my master's program. Oh my goodness. And as you guys know, after this, I'm going to be going hopefully off into a PhD program. So I'm working on my PhD applications right now. My focus area in counseling is working with couples and families, and also to one day specialize as a sex therapist. So my goal is hopefully when I start my doctoral program next year, I can start my sex therapy certification as well. So I'm excited about that, guys. So let's get right into it because I have been gone what feels like forever and a day, Candace Mack. But let me just hop right into it. Okay. What did you guys think of Martin's big reveal? And I thought this was a really interesting storyline, but I will say what I don't like about this storyline is how two men who sought out to commit a racially motivated crime are seen as the victims in this storyline. It makes it very weird for me. And then when you're looking at who the villains are, Bill, Marcel, and the Chief, they're considered the villains in the storyline, but why? Right? Because if Martin didn't respond the way he did, him and Vernon probably would have been toast either way. So it's so weird that him standing up for himself in self-defense has villainized him and all these characters as a result. This is really tricky territory I feel like Beyond the Gates mounted off of. Now, if Martin committed a crime where he threw someone off a balcony by mistake because he was cheating on Smitty, okay, then all these people can be part of this. But it's like they were trying to help a black man who was about to be the victim, him and his grandfather be the victim of a racially motivated crime. So that's just a very weird territory Beyond the Gates has done with the storyline in a sense. Because when I think about it, even with the Chief being like considered a villain, which brings me to my next point of Jacob. Jacob is married to the law, but what about his wife? Right? And this is where recently we just saw a few days ago where the Chief had to remind Jacob that the law is very gray and life is very gray. I believe life is very gray. In my program, we always talk about ethics, about what it means to be a counselor and a therapist and ethics. And I get it. It's a moral code that we have to follow. But at the same time, I do believe that life is very gray because there are some times when you have ethics and you have certain things and moral codes you follow where you have to sometimes even consider the situation. Would I follow it in this instance? And so when the Chief brought up to Jacob about how there are times where he looked the other way when Nicole had committed that assault against Leslie, or even having to arrest Danny, and how he had let her go very quickly afterwards, that the law was also a great place for him as well. And he needed that reminder. And the Chief at that point, he kind of looked like he had a look in his eyes like, man, if you weren't my son, I would whoop your ass. Kind of a look to him. But I understand what he was coming from. He was trying to explain to Jacob, listen, I get that you're an honorable cop, but there are some moments where life does get, and the law does get a little bit gray. But I also understand Jacob's dilemma. Because if Jacob sits there and act like nothing is happening with his dad and all this stuff that's going on with Marcel and Martin and Smitty, it almost makes Jacob probably maybe come to the idea of what else then would I be willing to overlook? If not this, right? Yes, it's a gray area, but for Jacob, this is not just gray. This is dark gray for him. So this brings me to my next point of Smitty and Martin. Smitty putting Martin out. I spoke about this with my friend Sam. We're always talking about Beyond the Gates and exchanging text messages throughout the week. And I don't feel it was smart for Smitty to put Martin out because especially at a time like that, they need each other the most. You guys need each other the most, especially as a family. And it makes the kids ask more questions. The thing about it is that I feel like Martin didn't tell Smitty the truth initially. And I was a little bit pissed when Smitty was like, oh, you don't even trust me as your husband. You don't trust me as your husband. And in my mind, I'm like, why are you making this about you? Your husband was scared in that moment. But then again, I thought about it. How Ted didn't tell Nicole about Leslie, but Vernon told Anita about that night. See, Vernon and Anita have a really actually good foundation with one another. And so maybe what Smitty's really mad about is because this is really unveiling what kind of foundation him and Martin actually truly have. This is why when you pick your spouse, you can't just look at if the person's cute or not. You really have to look at who they are and who their values are. I'm not saying you want someone who's gonna rob a bank with you or help you get away with murder, but you want someone who you know when stuff goes down or something happens, you can turn to them. If not, why the hell are you here? Okay. Next point here this brings me to is Bill and Haley. This really brings me to Doug and Vanessa, but I'm gonna get to them in a minute. Bill and Haley. Now, many of you guys are not liking the speed of Beyond the Gates. I'm on Albert's Live all the time, so I can hear all the opinions and I see some of those things. The thing about it is that Beyond the Gates is, the way the show is moving is not new to me because I was a huge All My Children fan. I loved Another World, As the World Turns, and Guiding Light. And a lot of the Procter & Gamble soaps moved at a really slow pace. That wasn't something that was uncommon. And so they're taking their time to really flesh out and tell these stories and get us to connect to these characters, as we saw with Anita and the Articulettes. So this is not an uncommon thing.
Unexpected?
I think viewers just need to be able to give it some time and really connect. And this is a slower soap, not like Y&R. Y&R is slow, but they don't really tell these stories. But Beyond the Gates, I actually like their pacing, actually. I think it's brilliant. Now, will this work for the modern day market of soap viewers? I don't know. That part is the part like, they might have to beef it up a little bit because I can see people losing interest quick, but I'm not. Because I look at the writing and I look at the story that's being told, where I know most people are looking for their entertainment and the quick action, which Beyond the Gates is not going to give you that. And I respect that. They're looking at quality, not quantity, but we're in a stage and an age now where they might need to start bringing some quantity in. Now, back to Bill and Haley. I just feel like Haley faking the pregnancy. All I can think to myself is during the storyline was, is this really necessary? Even if you did have the baby at one point in time, you miscarried, why not just tell Bill? Because at the end of the day, you already got the man, you guys are already married. Why the need for all of this? But then again, all this just shows how insecure Haley feels about her connection to Bill. And naturally, when you steal something, you're not gonna really feel that secure about it, right? Because you didn't really get it off of merit, you didn't earn it, right? She stole Bill from Danny in a sense. So in a way, she didn't really get Bill free and clear. So naturally, you're gonna feel insecurity about this connection. It's almost like when you take something without asking, you have to hide it. There's an insecurity you feel about this thing, right? Because you know you didn't get it the right way or the way that you know that you should have gotten it or maybe could have gotten it. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with Haley is this insecurity that she has in her relationship with Bill, which is sad. But at the end of the day, it's like, if she doesn't get this under control, this fake pregnancy is only one of many things and many cycles she'll be in if she doesn't find a way to establish a sense of feeling secure in her relationship with Bill. But it's very possible she never will be. Because most times when you cheat with someone, the idea is like they can cheat on you. Because you were also part of it, you were complicit. There's no honor amongst thieves. This brings me to Doug and Vanessa. Oh, before I go there, Haley's connection to Randy, I'm wondering now, what is that connection about? Because all the time that Haley was on the phone, I thought she was on the phone to Leslie, but it turns out it was Randy. So what are they, brother and sister? But I feel like that would have been brought out a long time ago, right? I mean, Doug grew up with Randy. Are they play cousins? You know, black people, they don't have play cousins. Are they play cousins? But what are they? And that's an intriguing thing. And so bringing Randy back into the mix was a nice touch from the writers. I appreciate that because I forgot all about him. But now this brings me to Doug and Vanessa. Doug and Vanessa are probably the most pathetic couple on the show. They're very superficial, the both of them. Because here's the thing, Vanessa told Doug at Orphe Jeans that she can't let Joel Armstrong go. Not because of blackmail, not because of concern for her safety, not because she's in too deep. Well, she's in too deep, she mentioned that, but she likes the money. She's greedy. It's not like her and Doug are hurting for the money, but she's greedy. And so that is what's attracting her to this whole business with Joel Armstrong. And so Vanessa, she values greed. Doug wanted a trophy wife. And this is why I think that their relationship their marriage lacks a foundation. They don't have no real foundation in their marriage. And that's why Vanessa was sleeping with other people and sleeping with the gym trainer at the country club and all these different people, because they don't have no real foundation. Their marriage is not really rooted in anything solid. It's very superficial. This is why, like I said, looks are important, but you have to have more than just attraction in a relationship. And Doug and Vanessa don't really have anything beyond that. That's why now they're at where they're at. And even amongst all this, Vanessa is still sleeping with Joey Armstrong. They don't have the same values. They don't. Well, I mean, they're both superficial people, and that's what drew them to each other. But they don't really have an establishment of boundaries, or they barely have respect for one another. I mean, Ted and Nicole, yes, Ted stepped out on Nicole with Leslie, but Ted and Nicole still have a respect for one another. Vern and Anita have a respect for one another. Bill and even Haley have a respect for one another. But I don't see that with Doug and Vanessa. And I can't take them seriously as a couple. I really can't take them seriously. Next point here is the need of the articulates. I thought this actually was a great performance. I believe there's more to come. I think moments like these allow us to really connect to the characters, but we do see next week that there's another person who shows up on Leslie's doorstep, but I'm wondering if there's a connection to that and the articulates, because I feel like this storyline is not done yet. I still feel like there's more to come on that. So last point here is Ashley, Derek, and Andre. First I wasn't interested in investing in this couple, but over time I really actually did become to be. Derek doesn't challenge Ashley, but Andre does. And that's the key there. In any relationship, you have to challenge your partner. Vernon challenges Anita, Anita challenges Vernon. This is why their spark and fire is still alive. You have to challenge your partner. The thing about it is that I don't care how nice you are, how cute you are, how spiritual you are, how churchy you are, my church people, how kingdom you are. If you don't challenge your partner, if you don't present some kind of challenge relationship, the person will get bored. Disrespect or infidelity tends to ensue. I'm telling you, this is why you can't be a yes man or a yes woman or a yes they in a relationship. You have to challenge your partner, and you can't be afraid to. See, Andre challenges Ashley, and Ashley challenges him. Now, see, the thing is that when she was with Derek, she challenged Derek. Derek didn't challenge her. This is why a lot of times you'll see people who have a lot of high trauma and they dealt with all these things, and they always tend to attract a partner that just wants to fall at their feet, because that partner likes the challenge, right? Of being the one to be the Superman or the Superwoman. But little do they forget, they forget in that moment to provide a challenge for that person too. They forget to do that. And what does that person do? You're at their beck and call. You're falling at their feet, and then also at the same time they keep you waiting, and then sometimes disrespect even ensues. But you think like, oh, I'm gonna be the one and they're gonna really love me because I get to save the day. Right, that's a challenge for you, but you did not present a challenge for them. You have to have both. That keeps the fire alive and that keeps respect burning. This is why you can't make yourself too available for anybody, not even your kids or your partner. This is how you lose respect. Because here's the thing, people value what they know they can lose. If someone doesn't feel like they can lose you, they're not going to value you. Ashley knows she didn't really lose Derek. But see, when she saw Derek with Shanice, she's like, oh my God, like, he has value again. Because in the sense, even when she broke up with Derek, she didn't feel like she lost him. But when he was with Shanice, she started to feel a sense of loss. If you noticed, she started getting jealous, she started getting angry. She was like, oh my God, right? Now, Andre provides her with that challenge. Even though she saw Andre with Danny the other day in his hotel room, but Andre gives her a feeling like this is someone I could lose. And Andre feels the same way with Ashley. This is why a lot of times people tend to maybe go after people who are in relationships, or people in relationships will go after people who are single, because when you feel like you can lose someone, there's a sense of loss. You respond. And that keeps you on your toes. This is why when Haley and Bill first got married, and Haley said, you know what, maybe this marriage is not gonna work out. What did Bill do right away? He went right to the Dupree's house and he put their asses on notice, because in that moment he felt like he could lose Haley. He had respect for Danny, but he never felt like he could lose her. That made him bored, that made him unchallenged, and he started acting stupid. I'm telling you guys, you always have to create a challenge. If people don't feel challenged, that's when they start acting up. Think about a child in school. If a child is not challenged, let's say the child's in 3rd or 4th grade, they're not challenged by the curriculum, what happens? They start acting stupid in school. And then they have a parent-teacher conference, and then maybe the parents-teacher decide, you know what? The material's not challenging him. We need to advance him to the next grade, or we need to get him more challenging stuff. People need to be challenged. This is why you have to be honest with people and tell people the truth. Because when you do that, you allow an opportunity, not only for insight, but also a challenge. If you take that away, that's what you get. That's why some people run amok in your life. You're not honest. Honesty itself can just present a challenge. And that's something to think about. Anyways, guys, that's my quick, brief review. It's not brief, it's 15 minutes now, but that's my review on Beyond the Gates, What Color Is Your Money? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'm hoping I get to be on Albert's Live tonight. It's August the 9th, 2025. So anyways, guys, wish me luck. I'm in my final year of grad school. Woo, woo. This past summer was crazy, guys. I took 4 classes for a summer semester, and 2 was actually full-time, whether you're undergrad or graduate. And I was seeing clients, so whew. So I'm working now this year to take my boards to become a registered mental health counseling intern, and hopefully a registered marriage and family therapist intern as well. So I'm excited for this, guys. And I'm hoping next year when I start my doctoral program for my PhD that I can also simultaneously do my sex therapy certification at the same time. Which is new because you don't really hear about people going into those kind of fields in those kind of areas in the mental health world, but I like it because why? It challenges me. You see, I just like slid that in there, just slid it on in. Yeah. Anyways, all right, guys, I am out. This has been the Soap Sanctuary, and I'll see you guys in the next one.